Eleni Karipidis is a Toronto-based writer who just published her debut book, Coffee Reading. The book follows the life of two young people as they navigate uncertain times, a new country, love, and fate. Eleni joins me to chat all about it. Hi.
Hi, Tina. Thank you
you
for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm great. Like there's so many things percolating in my mind because I'm planning my book launch and meeting new people every single day. So there's lots of stuff happening, like behind the scenes. Yes, so it's all good.
Well, Eleni, I'm so glad you can join me to talk about your book. I know that Coffee Reading took 20 years for you to tell. So why was now the best time for you to publish this book?
I was a teacher for 17 years with Wire DSB. After the lockdown and having so much time to think about what I wanted my life to be like after the lockdown, I decided that I was gonna stop like helping others manifest their ideas onto the page or the stage or screen and do it for myself. Right. I taught drama and English, and in both subjects, it's always me facilitating others to get their stories out. So in 2004, 20 years ago, I started writing. I wrote a screenplay called Hot Water, and it didn't go anywhere much, so it just sat there for a little bit, and I kept on thinking, all this time, how can I revive it? Like, what can I do? And the older I'm getting and the more life experience I'm having, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know, it just came to me. I'm like, yeah, I gotta revolve it around this ancient tradition of coffee reading, right? So essentially it's the same story as Hot Water. It's just told from different perspectives. It's not just one person's perspective. There are three storytellers actually in the book. So,
well, aside from the cultural connection, what did you find, or what do you find enticing about coffee reading, and why was it the best way for you to tell this story?
Yeah. So I've always been a storyteller, and coffee reading is actually basically telling a story. It's a part of my oral tradition. I learned it from my mom. She learned it from my yaya. My dad, actually, he knows how to read, but it's kind of taboo for men to read. It's usually thought of, a woman's doing the reading. But yeah, sometimes I'll be like, we'll have coffee together and he'd be like, oh, you have some bubbles at the top of your kaimai. And I'm like, Dad, tell me more. And then he's like, no, I can't tell you. Anywho, but yeah, and so I just love the way the coffee granules, they dry on the inside of the cup, and they create their own language, and it's so it's enigmatic, and each reading is so complex and different, just like everybody, the person who's drinking it, right? So the not one cup is always the same, and yeah, it's part of the culture. It's an ancient practice, actually. Now that we're getting a little bit, we're, I guess, socially accepting other ideas and ways of knowing, that I'm thinking, okay, yeah, maybe this is the right time to share this type of story.
I love that you use that in the story, and I loved how it guided the characters along the way, even though they weren't
Yeah.
sure how things would pan out. It really was kind of a compass for them to make decisions in their life. The book is loosely based off your parents' own migration story. What was
Yeah.
that like for you to take aspects of their life, but then also weave in your own imagination when writing the book?
Yeah. So, I don't know about you, Tina, but for me, like my parents have always been an enigma. Like as children, we only know our parents how we know our parents, as they are.
Right.
So, and some parents share, their past with their kids. Others don't. They guard it really, really tight because for whatever reason, maybe past traumas or whatever, right? So I had to do a lot of snooping when I would go visit, my grandparents and, my aunts and uncles and stuff like that. I'd be like, and then I would have to like think, okay, I kind of embedded my own little bits of personality in the main characters as well,
Yeah.
just to be kind of like, well, if they were my friend, right? Like I thought of my characters as my friends, you know what I mean? Like, of course there's moments where I'm like writing my character and I'm like, oh, like you're really annoying me right now. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's okay though, because that's part of it, right? And then of course I'm a great listener, right? So I like random people sometimes will sit and talk to me about stuff, and so I listen, and I've also taken little bits and pieces of other people's stories to create some of the other characters. Like for example, one of the characters, Pericles, he's in the closet, right? And in those times in the late 60s, men couldn't really express themselves properly, right? And the junta, they wanted to oppress any kind of personal expression, right? So that's a story that I knew from somebody, from my parents' generation. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just like little bits of pieces, little bit of them, little bit of other people's stories, my own, thinking, oh, that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's what I thought. I got this sense too when I was writing your book. It's so important that it did make us think of, our parents and our grandparents before we knew them, right? One of the things that kind of came across to me right away when I was reading the book was that, she really does want us to think about and maybe even ask questions about, what life was like for them. And that's an important question to ask.
Yeah, and I think so too, right? And like for me, I have two boys, right? They're 8 and 10. And my husband sometimes thinks, oh, you share too much. But no, I want to share with them because I want them to know me completely. You know what I mean? Like they only know me as mommy. You know what I mean? They don't know
Yeah.
me as the dancing queen, back in the days of hitting all the clubs on the Danforth and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and so like for my parents have always been an enigma. I'm thinking, how is it possible? Like they came here, just the two of them, one luggage each. Where did that fire go? Where did that because now they kind of like live in fear. You know what I mean? They're not that easily persuaded to try something new. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, oh, wow, I'd love to know how you were then. You know what I mean? Like, who were you at 22, at 24? You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that it will maybe open up conversations like of people from our generation and reach out to their parents or their grandparents and say, hey man, you know, like, what were you like?
Yeah.
Right? Just to peel away the layers. And I think the more that we understand each other, then, you know, there's other things that we can correct.
So Eleni, tell me about your interest in storytelling and the arts. When did that all begin for you?
Okay, well, storytelling has been like a part of my everything since I was very little. My earliest memory is Christmas. I was 5, and I dressed up like one of the wise men in the nativity scene and reenacted the baby Jesus story for my family and my godparents' house. There's photos of me. So that was it. I was like, oh my God, like I knew I was born for the stage, right? Fun fact though, in kindergarten, I had a very short period of time that I had stage fright.
Oh.
And nobody believes it because I'm so like, oh my God, like, you know, out there. But yeah, so we had to sing Jingle Bells. And the moment the curtains were drawn, I was crying like Niagara Falls.
No.
Yeah, it was like uncontrollable. My teacher had to like literally like lift me off of the bleacher.
Oh.
And because it was not good. But anyways, yeah, so then when I was 8, from 8 to 18, I danced for the Silogo Kozanis. Then high school, I did drama, right? And that was it for me. I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something related to drama. Thankfully, Nancy showed up in Canada when she did. I was 16. Yeah, I was 16, and I ran, like, I don't know how fast I got to the Greek community to sign up. And so I'm one of her pioneer students of Nefeli. And we did a show, I played Rosa, the Italida. Oh my God, it was such a small role, but I killed it. And it was wonderful. It was really like Nancy, like gave me a space to do what I love to do, and she nurtured me. And at some point, I became like her student director. You know, so yeah. After that, I went to Ryerson for theater production, and then I got my BFA at Concordia University as I did drama in education there. And yeah, so like it's been a long time that like I'm an artist, you know.
Yeah.
I love the arts. I love everything about the arts. I love dance. I love singing. I'm not a great singer, but I will try karaoke. You know, if you ask me to go karaoke, I'll go. I love art. In fact, my office is filled with paintings from local artists. And yeah, like I just want to always surround myself with like-minded people. And so, yeah, art has been just basically my oxygen, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's beautiful how it's been a part of your life for so long. But I know that you've also explored different career avenues, from teaching to the culinary arts. So what informed your decision to make your way back to your career as a writer?
Yeah, well, returning to writing, like it was a natural transition for me, because it actually gives me the flexibility to practice my craft in different forms, right? So yes, I'm a writer of fictional novels now, but I also have a cooking blog called Eleni's Culinary Journey. So if anybody has tried my food, it's really good. But I also like writing about my food. Like I like after reflecting on it and how it made people feel, and so I have my blog writing, and alongside expanding coffee reading into a series, another thing that I'm going to be doing is offering services to other writers who need the help. So I'll be consulting and coaching writers to actualize their ideas. Nice. So I'll still be a teacher, but it'll be kind of different. It'll be different. It wouldn't be like 30 high school students. It'll be one adult writer, or maybe teenage writer, I don't know, like yeah. But so in a way, I'm not like, it's just different, right?
Right.
I'm
it's
always
the same thing, but in a different capacity.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I'm always gonna be a cook. I'm always going to be a teacher. It's just different.
Yeah. So when can we expect your second book? I want to know.
Okay, second book is going to take a little bit longer. But my second book, so it's going to be a continuation from where coffee reading leaves off, right? So like in traditional Greek storytelling, I'm going to tell the full story in 3 parts. And so the second book is titled A Good Reading. So you've read my book, right? So it's the last title of it's the last chapter of the first book.
Oh, I love that continuation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and that book is going to basically be about Penelope and Lysander's experience here in Canada as new immigrants trying to figure it out. I don't want to give too much away.
Right.
And then the last book will be called Coffee Reading 101. And that's where their daughter returns to Greece to learn the craft from her yaya Cassandra.
Oh, that's
so beautiful. It goes full circle, right? Nice. Because the daughter, is struggling to deal with being having this dual identity, being Greek and being Canadian. Like, what is that? You know what I mean? So, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited about the trilogy. Yeah. So, next year, each book takes about 6 months to actualize, from idea to the writing process, and then publishing, right? So maybe this time next year we'll
Very
have
nice.
another series of book launches.
Well, Eleni, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Oh, thank you, Tina. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I hope that you can come to my book launch, which is October 30th.
Thank you. And you can head over to Amazon to get your copy of Coffee Reading.